Trigger warning, this video game includes discussions of miscarriage and stillbirth as an important part of its story. Viewer discretion is advised. You wake up in a dark room. You don't know where you are, how you got here, or even your own name. You can't remember anything. As you come to consciousness, your head is hanging low. You open your eyes and immediately see a single message. It's written in what appears to be blood, but you're not sure. You're not sure of anything after all. Only that you're scared. And the message beneath you does nothing to quell your fears, as it delivers a single, almost desperate instruction. Don't face up.
Welcome to our single favorite indie horror game that you've never heard of, released for free on February 2nd, 2024. If you play the game quick enough, you can get through it in little under an hour, and yet the stellar writing, effective puzzle gameplay, and genre-questioning twists make it not just an extremely worthwhile play, but one that's going to stick in your memory for a long, long time, like it has in ours. Hi, I'm Cori.
And I'm Connie.
And keep your heads low. Whatever you do, don't face up.
Don't Face Up was made by Japanese indie developer Tezukiza. It appears to be his first game. We can't say that for certain, but other games are being worked on, including another demo being based on Lack of Sight. That being said, it is very obviously an early release project from a solo developer. Most if not all of the assets are bought or from free libraries, the gameplay is scuffed and not playtested, and the English translation can be a little goofy.
However, we have been, for the last few months to a year, begging people to play this game. To me, Don't Face Up is a beautiful showcase of pure potential, and it didn't reveal itself until mostly through the game. I highly advise playing the game oneself to experience everything we're going to talk about, but we'll do our best to summarize where needed and give a solid cutoff point for you to play the game yourself or watch the silent Let's Play I posted on my main a few months back.
The main gameplay mechanic is very simple, and is revealed to you the second you enter the game. Don't face up. If you look up, you have this eerie warning ringing in your head for the next several minutes. Your character expresses that they do not remember anything and finds a seemingly unrelated lore recording immediately beside them.
Honey, come on.
Hey, Deputy. Don't call me that while we're working.
It's already after hours.
For management, there's hardly such a thing as working hours.
Around the area, you can find strange card keys with a weird eye symbol, followed by a chat log on a computer. A phone rings, answers itself, and a strange voice only tells you not to look something in the eyes, giving you the reason for the warning in red on the floor.
When leaving the room, you're greeted with the feet and legs of a void black humanoid thing, its fingers twitching. You're forced to walk directly next to this thing to get past. After finding a puzzle hint, you turn around to see the previously motionless being right behind you. Had you gotten too comfortable and been facing up, you would see that its eyes go wild in an otherworldly swirl and it immediately begins to chase after you. If you didn't slip up, you get a good, silent, actually effective jump scare.
While this is simplistic, the opening to the game works well to show gameplay, story, and horror setup. This opening section hooked us with intrigue, a slow introduction to the continued experience with a consequential reminder not to get too comfortable. It's also a consistent pet peeve of mine when a game or movie has a jump scare that would be completely and wonderfully effective on its own, but they add a loud sound effect that ruins it. It's not needed. Visual senses do all the work needed sometimes, and a sudden sound effect to appeal to the most easily startled sense always feels cheap.
The fact we cannot look up without an increased risk of danger means that our gameplay is very unique and tense. The premise of an unknown humanoid spawning around you means you are never truly safe. Later sections play with this idea, adding puzzles where facing up is needed, multiple or faster teleporting threats, a stealth section where a character routinely checks the hallway and you have to be hidden so as to avoid being spotted and captured, a sound lure moment, and a final boss chase.
I was worried in the second chapter that I'd be seeing a lot of the same thing, albeit different puzzles, and it's hard to say if it was good to let the player get more used to the game as a whole, or if it should have added something slightly new gameplay-wise to keep things interesting early on. However, after that chapter, new elements are revealed and things get more interesting as you play.
The most complicated aspect of the game would be its puzzles. They're not complicated themselves in theory. However, with the mixture of a lack of testing, odd visual communication choices, and the graphics, it's a very mixed bag. Once solved, the puzzles make sense in retrospect, but it's a lot of trial and error to understand what's being hinted at or communicated. It's like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Hashtag Cassidy Afton. A very positive puzzle is a name code you must solve, with the hint that it's the director's favorite cake shop. The reason we love this so much is because a lore text that a player who doesn't care about the story would skip is needed to know the code and what to do. It not only advances the story, but gives a gameplay reason to check all the texts. Though if we couldn't nitpick, it may be a little too late in the game. A puzzle involving these earlier on could have set a good precedent, but, it still works.
As for a more irritating example, here's one that I would call the chair puzzle. In the basement third floor kitchenette, you're met with a fridge that is locked with a combination code, with a drawing attached showing a large stick figure sitting on a number sign. This sign, on its own, communicates what needs to be done perfectly, the number of seats. It's what's underneath that's confusing.
You see a woman symbol, a man symbol, a tea kettle, a seat with one person and a computer, and a table with 2 people. The first 2 were obvious. They're used in every male and female bathroom we've seen so far, so we go in and check the number of toilets in each bathroom. But the others got confusing. In Cori's first run, we focused on the last 2 tables and saw a few tables in the kitchenette room itself with 1 or 2 chairs, and tried to count the tables in the room itself, except the number wasn't high enough and some tables had 3 chairs. Eventually, we figured out the puzzle was in order: the women's bathroom, the men's bathroom, the kitchenette itself, the office cubicles, and the conference room.
This is where the symbols used should have been tweaked. The tea kettle for the kitchenette would have been fine if there was a tea kettle in the room or any previous kitchenette. Had there been a picture of an oven or something that was in there, it would have been much more clear. I can understand how the single seat with a laptop represents the cubicles, and we probably could have figured that out eventually. We thought that the last symbol was the kitchenette for a very long time before remembering the conference room we saw much earlier. This room also has a double-digit amount of chairs, which completed the 6-digit code. Something that is clever about this part of the puzzle is that there's a chair in the corner of the conference room with another stacked on top that could be easily missed, which is a fun way to make the puzzle difficult. A highly praised horror puzzle game, and a personal favorite of ours, Amanda the Adventurer, played a very similar trick with the number of chairs, hiding one under the attic clutter that you have to look through in order to find.
Especially with the puzzle before this one also being interesting to decipher, this one is a prime example of the promises but problems with the puzzles in the game. From our experience, more playtesting would have ironed out these issues. A puzzle maker can never know the mind of someone who doesn't know the solution, so involving more people to try and solve it with no help would have given good answers, or at least a direction of where to go with changed communication. It's also possible that there was a cultural barrier with the symbols and graphic design used in Japan that we're not gathering, which is entirely possible.
As much as I know about graphic design history as a graphic designer student, I don't know Japanese graphic design, so that's on me.
Yep.
The puzzles overall are the weakest part of the game, but it's a complicated weakness. The strength of the game is the story. This is your cutoff point, by the way. You absolutely should go in, pun intended, completely blind. Again, the game is free, but if you want, we link to many Let's Play options. As many as there are for a game this unknown. Did you play / watch? Okay. Don't lie to me. This game tricks the player into thinking it's an average indie horror setup, in a sketchy facility with an unknown monster. The lore and story drops could lead the player to think it's the usual cult runs a thing and bad stuff happened trope, or lab experiments with monster that's after you kind of trope. It plays with the preconceived notions of the genre. The way this game was able to turn things over in such an effective way is why it stands out so much. By the way, the reason we put the cut before this is sometimes saying there's a twist is a spoiler in and of itself. Our parents were told that The Sixth Sense had a crazy twist, and because they went in knowing that, they knew it immediately when they got to the theater.
I can't believe it.
What? What is it?
Comedy Chimp's partner was a ghost. Yeah, who could have seen that coming? Can we focus, please?
So, if you don't feel like playing or watching through a game, that's fine. We're also going to explain the lore to you. It turns out you are on basement level 4 of the building, which seems to belong to a company labeled COC. Here you can find a few kitchenettes, a few cubicles and storage rooms, and what looks like a child's playroom. The employees are talking about avoiding something called Annabelle, while the deputy and chief, who are married to each other, seem less concerned with that and more in trying to have a baby. While the chief is very professional, or at least tries to be, the deputy wears his heart on his sleeve and is very excited for everything and passionate about his family. We even see he set up a play area for a child in the basement, even though the kid's not even born yet.
When you reach the 3rd floor basement, you hear someone calling distantly. They don't seem to respond to you, and you need to find more key cards to get to their location. On the way, you can look into more chat logs and find out that the upper management is pushing for more results, which is causing a lot of overwork and stress. Not the least of which because this Annabelle is present, which one employee explains is for security.
But the good news is, Chief finally got pregnant!
Yay!
The bad news is, when you finally open the last door, you see the person who's been calling to you has been one of those black void creatures. Meaning this thing can mimic voices.
You advance up to basement level 2, where you meet another human being that seems to be here. He knows who you are, but doesn't tell you much before locking you in a room, telling you that you need to just rest and relax. You're not too keen on this, so you escape the room and start gathering items from across the floor while trying to avoid being caught by him again. Here, we find out the chief had a miscarriage, likely due to the stress from overworking herself, and she's extremely grief-stricken about it. While the other employees and her husband try to cheer her up, someone else steps into the picture. A strange cult called the Embrace of the Merciful Mother.
The Embrace of the Merciful Mother believes that every human being acquires something called taint when they harm someone else. The only way to truly be pure is to never harm another being, but that's impossible as everyone harms someone the second they come into the world. As we all know, labor is a very not fun process after all. They believe that their god of a merciful mother is the only one who can purge the taint from a human, but they have no way to contact her. Except they start sending letters to the chief following her miscarriage, promising her a way to resurrect her dead child. Without the knowledge of anyone else in the building, she goes for it, bringing the cult to her and starting the ritual. Her husband finds out and tries to stop it, knowing this is just a summoning ritual for their deity, but the audio file is cut off as the other man on the floor finds you. You demand explanations, and he finally takes you up a level to give them to you.
The man catches you up on all the lore you might have missed, and then explains that the ritual did not go so well. Instead of summoning their god, they created a monster out of the baby's corpse that started absorbing all of their previous employees, turning them into those void creatures we've been seeing. The Institute is under lockdown until the problem is solved, but he promises he has a plan and leaves you in the conference room. You wonder at first if you should continue to trust him, but then that mysterious voice shows back up and reminds you that he didn't explain shit about you losing your memory or why he is the sole survivor. You're like, thanks, mysterious voice, that is kind of messed up, and try to leave, only to find one of those void creatures blocking your way. The only way to get around it? You step back around the island table, look up at it, and have to outlast and outrun it. The AI here can be a bit messy, but once you finally survive via ankle breaking, you turn around to see the void creature swallowed by a big worm monster that pops out of the ground. You know, like you do. But now you fully do not trust this man, so you continue on exploring the area.
As you explore, you find out a new employee was hired recently in the logs, numbered employee 13. This employee had a special interest in Annabelle, actually taking over shifts with her from other employees. They're also the last one to access information about the Embrace of the Merciful Mother before the chief did. You also find messages from Annabelle herself, one in correspondence with 13 in which she is cold and short, demanding he stop talking to her about anything not related to work. In another, she's talking to someone from her original security company, reporting that she doesn't mind the hostile work environment as it prevents people from getting too friendly with her, but she is being bothered by 13's obsessive advances. That's right, Annabelle is not only sentient, she's a woman being stalked by a man who doesn't understand the word no. Honestly, it is an indie horror trope at this point, but I'm not gonna complain, it's a life horror trope.
That's when you find, well, the final lore on this floor. That being the affliction of C&I. C&I is a supernatural disability, which affects exactly one person or animal on the planet at a time. The holder of C&I has a deadly eye contact, Those who meet their eyes will have roughly a few seconds to chase them down and kill them, otherwise they will disappear. If they kill them, they become the new holder of C&I. If C&I dies without making eye contact with anyone, the affliction will pass on to a random blind person, restoring their sight, but giving them the disability in the process. And anyone who makes eye contact with a C&I person instantly knows the threat level and begins to attack. Which, oddly, what's been happening to the shadows we see. Every time they make eye contact with us, they try to kill us. And that's what's going on. We have see and die. We are Annabelle. We are playing as the Enderman here.
While the void creatures are considered monsters in their own right, people consumed and spat back out by some type of eldritch being, you are the monster. When looked at directly, your victims have a time limit where their only way to survive is kill you or else be consumed by the creature in the floor that only we can see. This company we're locked into hired Annabelle for security, and she's the reason the lights are kept off and every employee, including 13, were given special glasses to prevent eye contact. And before you ask, she can't wear them because it causes her severe pain, so everyone else has to work around her.
You might be wondering then, why we have no memory. Well, you might also want to ask why we found all these puzzles, audio logs, and chat logs scattered around the basement levels oh so conveniently. You see, it turns out 13 intentionally let the chief know about the embrace of the Merciful Mother, and then in the confusion around the creature attack, smuggled in a mirror and used it on Annabelle. Upon looking in the mirror, Annabelle went through a complete amnesia, a sort of glitch in the see and die reincarnation, as she would end up being the person threatening herself. He's been using the lockdown to reset Annabelle over and over until she becomes his ideal woman, and eventually started leaving her in the basement with clues so that she would believe his story and stay in one place.
7th attempt. Upon regaining consciousness, explained immediately what had occurred. She appeared severely frightened and unable to engage in proper communication. Such a timid personality is unworth of her. Reset. 8th attempt. Upon regaining consciousness, explained immediately what had occurred. Her comprehension was poor. No matter how patiently the situation was explained, she failed to grasp it, as this severely lacked the intelligence that is her virtue. Reset. 9th attempt. Upon regaining consciousness, explained what had occurred using slides. She displayed pronounced suspicion, showing no signs of trusting my words. Rather than explaining outright, perhaps I should scatter clues throughout the facility. Let her follow them and form her own picture before offering an explanation. In any case, she bore clear hostility toward me this time. Reset. 10th attempt. She regained consciousness during preparations. Reset. 11th attempt. She became stuck on B3F. Reset. She must be able to clear that section more smoothly. 12th attempt. She became stuck on B3F. Reset. Perhaps I should increase the number of hints.
When you find this out, 13 reapproaches you and tries to wipe your mind again. However, the mysterious voice had previously instructed you to release a Ban drone from a box, and she uses it to knock his glasses off. You look him in the eye and watch him be swallowed by the monster before the drone comes back to you.
The person speaking through the drone, only known as 2, was your associate from the security company. As the building goes into full lockdown, she explains that you only have 5 minutes to kill the Merciful Mother so that the threat level will be neutralized and you will be able to be allowed to exit. Otherwise, they're just going to gas everything inside.
Going to the basement floor, you have to cross an entire collection of mimic shadows in order to reach the mother. Once you do, 2 gives you a nice badass boast.
I wonder if I really can.
You can. You are the pride of Stockstack Security, our first-class guard. The strongest ever bearer of the visual anomaly, see and die. Now show that pitiful imitation of a god standing before you just how far beneath a true paranormal it really is. Face up, Annabelle!
And you look up and face the merciful mother. You run, then turn around and watch her, just like the others, swallowed up by the worm creature. You collapse in exhaustion, just as 2 reaches and rescues you.
This is SSS-002. SSS-015 secured. Commencing return. You did well.
And thus, Annabelle gets to return to her job of hunting other paranormal creatures in this world that goes far, far beyond the confines of this building. Even with its awkwardness, the game is a fun play and honestly fun to try and speedrun. It has a secret to unlock connected to the main antagonist if you're willing to look for it. Combine that with the replayability of wanting to go through now with the knowledge of what's going on. This game is free to play with an optionable, purchasable DLC, $9 in American currency, which is just a file installed to your computer of character sheets and background information, which of course I bought, and it was worth it. I was so intrigued by the story presented that I was, and still am, hungering for more.
Not only is it very charming, reading the additional backstory comic made us even more in love with the possibility of this story. I truly hope the developer either continues in this world, continues with Annabelle, or eventually enhances the game with a team and more money behind it. There are so many original ideas here that high-budget, good-looking indie horror games don't have, and the potential here is shining.
And, in full honesty, I found this game while looking for free horror game stinkers on the Steam page. It was buried with asset flips and cookie-cutter moneymakers, and in retrospect, it makes me really sad. I went into this game thinking it would either be crappy or surprisingly amazing, and I'm glad it was the second, even surpassing my expectations. We wish all good things to this dev, and I just wanted to share my fangirlish love for this game that's been difficult to share. As a person and as people that have ideas for video games and would love to finally make them one day, it gives us so much hope. This game is truly a diamond in the rough, and I would probably be a different person without it. And despite all that, you really shouldn't face up. You should look outside. I mean, it's really nice out.
I know who you are under the mask. You're just a girl screaming into the void. Though you fortified, you're haunted inside from watching all that you love burn and destroy. It creeps into your dreams, infecting your bloodstream. The monster they made you, she lurks underneath. Clench your fists and become her, a new brand of thunder. Now watch you don't choke the world with your new teeth.
We have See and Die. We are Annabelle. We are playing as the Enderman here.
Rah, rah, Rasputin, lover of
The Russian.
Russian.
Oh, fucking Enderman!